Hey, what's up guys? John here. Schools in Alabama and Tennessee have officially closed down. Why? Well, it's because of this right here. This is not over. Everyone's talking about Mark Zuckerberg and his involvement and everything that happened the last several years.
Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg claims he was pressured by the White House to censor content related to during the pandemic.
Every media outlet, every influencer is talking about this. But what they're not talking about is what's actually happening right now, what's happening today, and what's going to happen tomorrow. Because I believe we're walking into a really, really big situation, a really big problem in America, a problem in which we all need to pay close attention to. I mean, everybody's going to be impacted. Look at this, for example. Came out 23 hours ago. And this is schools in 2 states experiencing a rise in cases announced they were closing facilities and switching to remote learning. Alabama and Tennessee, I hear everyone on, in the comment section saying, look, this will never happen in Tennessee. Not in Florida, John, not in Texas. It's Alabama and Tennessee. They're closing down. 1,000 kids, 1,000 children, just days in the new academic year. Saying that, this is forcing them to shut down and carry out a deep clean. At one school, children had to abandon their desk and revert to remote learning for 2 days, a move reminiscent of the early days of this. Well, you look at this, you look at what's happening right now in Africa, and then you look at what's unfolding in Massachusetts, the new curfew.
Several towns in Massachusetts are now critical risk zones for a serious mosquito-borne illness,
urging residents to stay indoors after dark until at least October.
We're walking into something really, really big here, I promise you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on and why I believe we need to pay very close attention because, on this channel I talk about personal finance, real estate, business, and money. I don't think a lot of people are prepared for what we're walking into. And I think it's going to present a massive opportunity for those that are and those that are preparing now. Please hit the like button, YouTube will share the content, educate more people about what's going on in this country, in America. I mean, it's crazy. It's covered, MSN's talking about it, Daily Mail. Even here, they're saying, this came out yesterday, saying that Americans to receive free tests again. But are they really free? Coming out from Forbes, right? When is this happening? The end of September. So the end of September, this is all unfolding. This is wild, but this is the new normal. If you like to fix your credit to position yourself for this massive wealth transfer, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative or derogatory items in your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for tomorrow, and check out reviews on Trustpilot. Take a look at this. I mean, it's wild. Even this, right? So this situation, everybody is talking about this, and I don't think people realize how fast this situation is advancing. So if you just go past hour, right? You mean they unveil a plan. So you're like, okay, well, this came out 35 minutes ago, right? So if they unveiled this plan, what does this plan look like? Well, this plan is a 6-month plan starting September, ending in February 2025, and envisions $135 million funding need for the response. So you're like, okay, 6 months. Who else is committed to 6 months? Oh, the answer, China. China will monitor people and goods entering the country for the next 6 months. That came out August 15th, right? So from now over the next 6 months, I think things are really going to heat up. I mean, in Massachusetts, there's a town, it's actually 4 towns now, that are they say it's a voluntary curfew. Okay, right? A voluntary curfew. And they say it's to present or to really prevent the movement of AAA, which they claim has a significant fatality rate. Like some of these outlets are saying 20%, 30%. That is huge. That is huge. Now, I made a prediction on this channel 6 months ago that what we're actually going to be walking into over the next several years is going to be a consolidation of schools. And this consolidation of schools will be done rapidly. We're going to see developers and investors buying these schools. We'll see local governments as well. And they're going to start to turn them into affordable housing. They're going to start pushing a lot of kids to remote learning. And this video, here's the proof of it. 6 months ago, schools closed all throughout America. I break down the entire concept of how this is going to work and show this is where we're likely going to be going. Because you think about this. When they say that they need to make things a little bit more inclusive, what's more inclusive? than getting, a one-on-one type of education based on a child's ability, based on their learning, based on their interest, based on, how they digest information, than if they were just to use AR and VR and they could, learn from home. They could save tremendous tax dollars, and, it would be a great thing for the environment. Don't need the buses, don't need all the traffic, don't need the cars, all that, right? It sounds far-fetched, but this is what's happening. May 30th, 2024, first look, new apartments. It's a former school. Aurora, Illinois converts school buildings into affordable, not buildings into affordable housing, right? We spent $90,000 on an abandoned school and $4.5 million to convert it into apartments, revitalizing project in Detroit, right? To convert old school into apartments for low-income families. This is where we're all going to be moving. The future of education is this, right? This is going to be the future, and we're moving rapidly towards it. So when everyone's talking about Mark Zuckerberg and all this, it's nothing but a distraction, right? Distracting, really getting everyone to focus on what happened the last several years versus what's going to happen in the next couple of years. Now, what's fascinating here is they say in 2030, adaptive learning software will replace direct instruction. Adaptive learning software is a computer software that uses AI to move students up and down through the grade levels, content based on students' performance and assessment questions. Adaptive learning is faster and more efficient than even the best teachers. Even McKinsey put out an article January. So this is before the craziness, January. And they're talking about how AI is going to impact the role of a teacher. So you start to kind of just connect the dots here, and you'll see where this is all going to go. If we see, let's just call this situation in Alabama and Tennessee a 15% probability that this scenario grows, right? And I mean, the fact that they're doing this nationwide, they're going to be giving out, I would say it's probably greater than 15%, call it 20%, right? If this is the 20% situation, and this situation where it's a 6-month plan is another 20% probability of something happening here, which, maybe it's high, maybe it's low, even call 10%, right? So those two scenarios, 30%. And then you have this situation in Massachusetts, call that another 10%, right? It's 40%. A 40% probability that one of these three situations could be something that completely derails everyday American lifestyles, right? The way in which they live, the way in which they work, the way in which they, go about living, travel, all this could be derailed 40% chance, hypothetically, right? That's if we don't see any type of other curveball or problematic situation, which in this crazy world, I would say it's very likely. Just look at the last 30 to 60 days. Every week we're getting hit with some crazy situation, right? So you start to look at this scenario we're rolling into, you have to ask yourself, what is this going to mean in the eyes of an employer? What is it going to mean for an everyday investor? I personally believe the crazier the world gets, the more careful employers are going to get with how they spend money, with hiring talent. They're going to be investing heavily into technologies and resources that are going to be able to reduce their monthly expense. I believe it's going to be outsourcing talent. I believe it's going to be AI and robotics and chatbots, and we're going to start seeing a lot of investment into this over the next year or two. And I think people right now are so heavily leveraged with consumer credit card debt, with auto loans, home loans, Airbnbs, that if we step into a really big problem and the job market falls apart, which you're seeing a lot of tech companies issuing massive layoffs, how are people going to make good on their bills? Bankrate.com saying roughly half of workers are planning to look for a new job in the next year. Well, these workers are going to need to make about $100,000 a year, depending on where they live, to be able to find, another suitable position that's going to allow them to pay their expenses. I mean, look at this, for example. They give you a breakdown saying that 2 states you need to make $200,000 a year. How many jobs right now are offering, that type of money? I mean, even in Alabama, you need to make $40,000, which even if you're working fast food, I mean, it's every single one is on the high end is over $100,000. And I would say that's probably accurate. At least $100,000, $8,000 a month. And then if you're renting, $2,000. I mean, you have a car payment, food, insurance, health insurance. You start to add everything up, and then you pay the government, pay taxes. $100,000 is like the new middle class. And I think it's going to be very, very hard for, if half of Americans are looking for work, to be able to go find another $100,000 a year job, or a job in which offers that type of security. and offer stability. Now, if you have a job and you're making $100,000 a year and you're a really, really great asset to that company, I would protect that, and I would really try to do everything you could possibly do to make that company more money, to really position yourself as an indispensable asset. Because I think we're going to see a lot of layoffs. That's what I think. And I think if you can position yourself to make that company a lot of money, then that company is going to, see that value, and they're going to want to, incentivize you to stay, probably with raises and, doing whatever they have to do. But you think about this. If schools started to close down, how would mothers, fathers, how would people be able to, go to work if they have kids at home? Probably wouldn't. They would need to do remote work. Now, if you were doing remote work and someone else, it wouldn't matter if you're in Boston, it wouldn't matter if you're in LA, or it wouldn't matter if you're in Bangladesh. If you're doing remote work, you're not showing up to those meetings, face to face, and if everything's Zoom, you start to look at what this would mean from the eyes of an employer, right? They would be looking at ways in which they can cut costs. And to me, it looks like that's the world we're going in right now. We're walking into something huge here. Look at this, for example. 39% of Americans worry that they can't pay their bills. That's now. That's right now. I personally think this number is going to go up. But if you are somebody that's extremely ambitious, you really want to do well for yourself, maybe for your family, the next year, the next 2 years, it's going to be a free-for-all. Everything I believe is going to come up for sale, whether it be cars, whether it be homes. People are not going to have a choice in most cases but to sell or give the keys back, or whether it be to their home or their car, to the lender. Right? And so those with cash, stable job, well, in this economy, jobs, right? Great credit. Those people are going to, I think, be the beneficiaries of the insanity. That's why I believe you look at what a lot of these major companies are doing, a lot of major investors sitting on a mountain of cash. You look out on the horizon, it's not, sunshines and rainbows, it's a storm, right? And companies and individuals are preparing for this storm. But inside of storms, I believe you'll be able to really, find some great opportunities. And that's always, look at Sam Zell. He's a famous investor. He passed away. Famous investor. He developed the nickname called the Grave Dancer. And his story essentially went to school to be an attorney. And he worked during his college education for a landlord as a property manager. He facilitated a lot of the, everyday work. And then he realized, hey, there's a lot of money in real estate. There's a ton of money, and I want to get my hands on it. And so what he did was he raised money, and he only was an attorney for one day, and then he bought one deal, and then he said, you know what? The market seems very, very high. I have this money. I'm going to sit, and I'm just going to do nothing. And he did that for 1 year. The market collapsed. He ran out there, and he invested and bought so many amazing deals for pennies on the dollar. And he developed that nickname, the Grave Dancer. And ever since that, he founded Equity Residential and Equity Office, became one of the top 5 landlords in all of America, right? I think the same thing is going to happen again, no doubt. This time, I think it's going to be even worse. I think it's going to be worse than 2007, 2008. I think we're walking into something that is going to be a remarkable opportunity for those that are positioned for it. What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think we're going to see these school closures continue to grow from Alabama and Tennessee, maybe going to LA and San Francisco and to New York? You think that's possible? What about this? What about this scenario that's ramping up right now? And they're bringing forward a 6-month plan. The same thing with China, 6-month plan. Or what about the situation in Massachusetts, right? This is all actually happening. This isn't like something that's, oh, this could possibly happen. This is already set in stone. So let's have a conversation about this below. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself, what I believe is going to be an incredible wealth transfer. We'd love to help you if you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative or derogatory items in your credit report. Go to greatcreditfast.com, click the link in the description just below this video, schedule a free call for tomorrow, and check out reviews on Trustpilot. Catch you next video.